Sir Elton Hercules John, flamboyant piano man, outrageous costumes, campaigner, collector and national treasure. Possibly one of the most successful solo artists of all time, and was born and raised in my hometown of Watford. This is the story of the legendary composer and pianist that even John Lennon said would be bigger than the Beatles more than 40 years ago. Music and wild stage costumes were Elton's escape from a very restrictive childhood. He learnt to play music on his grandmother's piano and within a year could play songs by ear. At the age of 7 he began taking formal piano lessons and showed a musical aptitude for composing melodies. At the age of 11, Reginald Dwight, aka Elton John, won a junior scholarship at the Royal Academy of Music. For the next 5 years he was taught classical music like Chopin and Bach and sang in the choir. But American rock and roll and blues, the likes of Elvis, Bill Haley and the Comets, touched his soul. He was listening to early rock and roll as well as classical music, and as his style developed it became a fusion of the two. He was classically trained but had an ear for popular music. At the age of 15, Reginald Dwight formed his first band, Bluesology, with his neighbour singer and guitarist Stuart Brown, Reg Bishop on bass and Mick Inkpin on drums. In 1962 they were playing local pubs and a year later had a regular slot at the Establishment Club in London. By 1967 Reg had had enough of Bluesology and realised his music career would go nowhere if he stayed with the band. Elton John and Bernie Taupin were introduced through an ad placed in music magazine NME by Liberty Records searching for singer-songwriters. Elton John could compose tunes but struggled with writing lyrics. Bernie Taupin on the other hand was a writer of beautiful lyrics but he could not write music. On a whim they were paired by Liberty Records, with Elton John being sent away with a folder of Taupin's lyrics. They developed a remote working relationship where they would never sit in the same room and write together, so the duo decided to move into Reg's grandmother's home in Northwood Hill. So there it is, number 55 Pinner Hill Road, the childhood home of Elton John. The pair would go on to form one of the most successful songwriting partnerships since Lennon and McCartney. Reginald wanted to branch out on his own and become a singer in his own right. He was on the bus with Bluesology, coming home from a gig, and someone said, "You've made it now. What are you going to call yourself?" He got the name Elton from Elton Dean, the saxophone player of the band, and the name John from Long John Baldry, from the singer of the band. Elton John's first album, Empty Skies, in 1969, largely went unnoticed, but his second self-titled album, Elton John, was a hit with the single Your Song. For most of the 70s, Elton John was a hit-making machine, churning out 25 top 40 singles, 16 top 10s and 6 number 1 hits. In 1976, he became the chairman and president of Watford Football Club. Watford at one stage were at the bottom of the Football League. In 1997, Elton John sang live at the Princess Diana's funeral with a rewritten version of Candle in the Wind, and it became one of the biggest selling singles of all time. In 1998, Elton John was knighted by the Queen for his incredible contributions to music and charity. Sir Elton John has won 5 Grammy Awards, including the Grammy Legend Award, plus a Tony Award, making him one of the few to have all these awards in his repertoire. Sir Elton John has sold over 300 million albums and over 1 million singles worldwide. He is a renowned composer, producer and even an actor, adored around the globe. This next artist did a duet with Elton John and it was on Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, and it's George Michael coming up in this next video.